This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with a daily wrestling news update for you. To me, this is a frivolous lawsuit. Ryan Nemeth, who is one of these AEW wrestlers that I guess was under contract and nobody remembers, he's filed a lawsuit against Tony Khan, AEW, and CM Punk. He filed this on Valentine's Day for quote, assault, breach of contract, breach of implied covenant of good faith, and fair dealing and intentional interference with prospective advantage, end quote. And this all has to do, and again, I mean, I don't have any sympathy for this guy, and I really don't respect him either because he acted in a very unmanly way in this whole situation. Basically, Punk returned to AEW after a dispute, and on June 17th, 2023, this Ryan Nemeth tweeted, quote, literally the softest man alive, end quote, which was seemingly referring to Punk. So you're basically calling CM Punk soft there. And I guess according to this lawsuit, the next time Punk saw him backstage, he approached him and said, do we have an effing problem? Do we need to step outside and handle this like men? To which Nemeth tried to de escalate the situation. So not only did he not handle it like a man, he pussied out of this situation after calling Punk soft. He then went and ratted him out to AEW executives. And then he complained that there was no punishment imposed on Punk. Here's the problem, okay? Here's the main problem. AEW should have fired this Ryan Nemeth guy, who is a nobody, the moment that he posted the insulting tweet about the biggest star that AEW had at the time. They should have fired him right there. You should not be a low card. So this guy wasn't even a low card. He wasn't even friggin' hardly used. And he's publicly insulting one of your top stars. And you don't fire him. And instead, the top star, who he called soft, actually confronted him about it. And then the guy pussies out, and not only pussies him out, but rats him out to executives. Then he was basically benched by the company. He was still under contract. Again, this is a spoiled brat. He was benched by the contract. Eventually, Punk was released by the company, and he ended up having more matches. Ryan Nemeth ended up having more matches, with his last match being November 18th, 2024. So he was kept under contract and paid for not being over and not really doing much of anything relevant. He calls CM Punk out, then pussies out and rats him out like a complete bitch. And now he's suing the company over it. I'd love to know where he gets this assault accusation from, because to me, if you call someone out, wrestlers are supposed to be tough. And I didn't hear anything in this about Punk actually laying his hands on him. He said, you got a problem with me? Let's go outside and handle this like men," which the guy didn't do. So now he's suing AEW, CM Punk, and Tony Khan. So I don't have any respect for this guy, just from a man's standpoint. And let's get into the other news. Here's something weird. AEW has about 180-ish wrestlers on the roster, according to reports. Okay, they've got 2 television shows. They already have more guys than they can use, and I guess they've gone now and hired 2 more guys that are going to be more And I like these guys as people, but Mike Bailey and Josh Alexander, do they really need two more mid card guys on the contract when they're not even giving the stars enough TV time? And I guess they're going to start using a guy named Clark Connors as well. So yeah, there's a solution to AEW's problems. Let's just add more talent. You already have most of your talent on your roster is not over. Let's just add more talent. We only have 2 2-hour shows. Let's just keep hiring people. Makes no sense at all. As far as Vince McMahon and the Janelle Grant case, she did file a new 23-page addition to the lawsuit. And Vince McMahon's lawyers apparently responded, this is no new information. Why wasn't it included in the original lawsuit? They also brought up that by Janelle Grant agreeing to the settlement agreements to which she already collected $1 million of the $3 million settlements, if there was any issues with that settlement agreement, it was supposed to be dealt with in arbitration rather than in court. And apparently the reason why they didn't pay her the other 2 million and why you've never heard about this issue with any of the other WWE settlements is the other people kept their mouths shut, where she talked about it. A lot of information came out about her settlement. And WWE is basically saying she broke the settlement agreement and this whole issue should be determined in arbitration because there was something in the agreement that if there was any issues with it, it should be determined in arbitration. Janelle's Grant's lawyers are saying no, it should be a lawsuit, even though she already agreed to terms of a settlement and accepted $1 million of it. Then, I mean, according to reports, there's a lot of information that came out about this confidential agreement. So, I mean, clearly Janelle Grant likes to talk. She's hired a publicity firm that also has represented Joe Biden and Barack Obama in the past. So she likes attention. I mean, we've heard a lot of these settlements with Vince, and we've never heard any other of these issues of him not continuing to pay these settlements. So we'll see what happens. I suspect it will continue on in arbitration. Wasted money for AEW, yes. A lot of people do not like Janelle Grant. She definitely craves attention. I mean, I'm not saying Vince McMahon's a saint by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe that if she had not broken the agreement that she had signed for, she would have had the full 3 million. And there is a lot of holes in her stories, but we don't have to get into that. But my main thing about today's report is this Ryan Nemeth guy called CM Punk a pussy, then acts like one of the biggest pussies I've ever seen in my life. So, I mean, we don't need people like this in wrestling. It's already becoming such a soft form of entertainment. It used to be about tough guys. Now there's definitely more spoiled brats in wrestling than tough people. And that's probably one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of the ratings and attendance numbers decline lately. Anyways, have a good night. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments.